Hi everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host Gary Smith. We're talking today about Salesforce products and how you really use products to generate benefits in Salesforce. I'm delighted to say I've got two people here to help me do exactly that. One is Andrew James. He's one of our senior consultants, and Andrew's going to be doing the driving today.
Hi everyone.
And I'm really pleased to say alongside me is Paul Fegan.
Hello.
Paul is the operations director at the ILX group, and ILX are major users of products, and can't wait to hear what some of the things that Paul's got to say about his company driving benefits from products. Why this topic? Why the topic of Salesforce products? Well, there's really three key reasons. The first is that every company, or at least the vast majority of companies that use Salesforce, should be using products, and we're going to show you and explain exactly why that is. I'm going to do it using ILX as a case study to demonstrate some of those key things. The second thing is that there's often a little bit of ambiguity or confusion about how products work, and we're going to nail that now. We're going to clear up some of that ambiguity about the way that Salesforce products work. And the third reason is that using products really opens the door to many other benefits. And as I say, ILX is a prime example of what some of those benefits are. So we're going to demonstrate that to you now, and that's why we've chosen this topic for today's show. So, Andrew, we're going to cut over to the ILX sandbox. So just bear with us a second whilst we do that. And Paul, just while Andrew's setting up there, just give us some examples of the types of things that represent products in the ILX environment.
ILX deliver project management and IT service training, and we cover a wide range of examination subjects, and we deliver in a wide range of mediums. So we deliver classroom courses, which are for anybody to attend, so a public classroom course. We deliver custom classroom courses where we'll deliver it at the client's premises just for their own employees. We have computer-based training, e-learning for the same subjects, and then we can blend the computer-based training with the classroom course to complement it before the exam is taken. So there's lots of permutations about the way that we can deliver training, and what products does is it gives us the ability to properly record what's been sold, and for the salesperson to put together what could potentially be quite a complex solution, but to have at his or her fingertips, all the elements to solve that problem, right, and know what the pricing is for it and what's included.
So it's a combination of both, if I understand it, it's a combination of both tangible and intangible products and services together.
Products
really.
and services, yeah.
And what are some of the key, just before we really get into it, why do you bother? There's a bit of, we're going to show you some setup and some, not so much we're going to show you the setup, we're going to show you how ILX uses products. But why do you bother? What's the benefit to you?
Yeah, so I think it gives us a discipline. So what it means is that any salesperson can go in and price something up knowing exactly what's included in the solution they're putting together and what the price should be, and just as importantly what the cost is, so therefore what the GP is for the opportunity they're creating. But also at the point where they close the opportunity, because we've got full details there of what's been sold and what's been included, the fulfilment becomes much easier.
Okay.
And even if you were to do the fulfilment manually, then it would be easier. But we actually integrated it so all of our fulfilment processes are driven off of what's included. So actually, when it gets to delivery, it becomes much easier. The clarity's there, the control's there, the visibility's there, and it's much easier for us to determine.
You're using products to really sort of make it, to specify exactly what has been sold at the point of sale.
Yeah,
because it's easy to get salespeople to go back and update it afterwards, of course.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think once they've sold it, they tend to walk away and leave it to everybody else to deliver. So this means that at the point that they've sold it, we're very clear about what's been sold and the margin on it and what should and shouldn't be included. And it gives us some control as well, because a salesperson can sometimes ask for other things to be packaged up into the solution which we're not properly costing out. So a sweetener for the client, maybe include the manuals free of charge. Well, those manuals aren't going to get shipped unless they're in Salesforce, unless we've actually approved the discount of the cost of those manuals. So it gives us much more control and visibility about what's included and helps us to maintain our margin.
So are you giving something away, even if you're giving a discount, or you are giving something away for free, you're making a conscious
it's included. We know that we're doing it.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, we are in the ILX sandbox here. And now, this is from a functional point of view, it's an exact replica of the ILX production environment, so it's exactly the same, and in fact all of the products are exactly the same. We have modified all of the pricing and the discount. In other words, we've modified the numbers and the prices and the discount levels and all that kind of stuff, and the cost price might be just for obvious reasons, really. But this is the ILX live sandbox environment. So, Andrew, we are on an opportunity at the moment, and I think if we scroll down a little bit, we will see that there are 3 products on this opportunity. There's 3 products and 3 quotes, actually. There's 3 products, and we can see the product quantity, the list price, the sale price, the discount associated with each line item, and so on, and the line item total price. And if we the sum of those 3 amounts represents the total value of this opportunity.
Yeah, precisely, and that rolls up into this grand total figure here.
Yeah. Now, just above the products, Paul, we've got 3 quotes. You don't need to be using quotes to be using products and to get a lot of the benefits from products. But just tell us, why does ILX use this as a standard object? Why does ILX use this?
Yeah, well, as you rightly say, you can add products directly to an opportunity, so you don't need to have quotes. But in this particular case, we for our instance, we do use quotes, and here you can see you've got 3. And as I said before, we've got different ways that we can deliver our training. So the top one of those quotes is a classroom-only quote, and if you look to the right of that, you can see that's the one that's syncing.
Yeah.
And then what we've got is 2 other options. So the client is interested in Prince 2 training. We've quoted him for classroom training. We've also quoted for classroom and e-learning, and then finally, the last quote we've quoted just for e-learning.
Yep.
And the reason you do that is at this early stage of the sales process, the client hasn't decided which one of those options he wants. So what we've done is we've put together 3 quotes so he can compare what's involved and what the price will be.
It's not unusual for people in any situation to ask for 3 different permutations of products and pricing.
Indeed, so they can analyse what works best for them.
Yep.
But of course, you don't want 3 opportunities in there, because if you do, then it appears 3 times in your pipeline. So for forecasting, you're duplicating the opportunity. What you do here, you have 1 opportunity but 3 quotes.
Yep.
You only sync one of them to the opportunity, and that's the one that appears in your pipeline.
Yep.
And then as the opportunity evolves through from this early stage through to the conclusion and being closed, you'll update. You might sync one rather than the other. You might change the quantity and the pricing as you get into a negotiation.
Sure.
But it enables you to control that whole process without duplicating the value.
And you can still keep a record of what has been quoted.
So the different quotes will have different products because they're different solutions. So. And that's why the price will be different.
And I think, Andrew, we'll go and look at how you add a product to a quote in just a second. Yeah. Let's go to the line items. We can see that this opportunity is associated with something called a United Kingdom price book, and you can see that just above Andrew's mouse there. We're going to come to the price book question in just a second, but let's go and have a look at one of those line items, Andrew. And again, there's some information. Some of this is standard fields coming in through the product, the price, and the discount that's been applied in this particular case. You also capture 1 or 2 other pieces of information, including an interesting field there, Paul, called the cost price.
Yes.
So I know that's a custom field, so
it is,
just tell us what that is.
So our sales team are incentivised on GP. It's not true GP, but it's a notional GP, taking into account the price at which it's sold against the notional cost which we're storing in Salesforce. The difference between the 2 is the gross profit, and they get commission based on that. And they have targets for the amount of GP that they have to create each month.
Yep.
So this gives them the visibility very easily, very quickly, as they're pulling together their pipeline to see what GP is in the pipeline. And the GP per product and per quote, and for the opportunity as a whole. So we've added those in, and there's
I presume you have
cost.
some reports and dashboards.
Yep, against those as well.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're looking at here is not the product. We're looking at the instance of the product on this particular opportunity.
Yes, indeed.
So it might be interesting, Andrew, just to go and have a look at the product itself. I know there's 1 or 2 standard fields here, and there's some custom fields here as well. So, Andrew, can you just summarise what the standard fields are?
Yeah, sure. So the standard fields here are the ones that come with Salesforce out of the box. When you turn on products, are the product family there in the top right. You can see I've got my mouse over it here. This particular product is a Prince 2 product, so you can see the product family is P2 there. The other standard field is the product code, which allows you to just add a unique code to a particular product. Using the product family, you can then group your products into different groupings. So that's what we use the product family for.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, are using some custom fields down the right-hand side to give a bit more information about this product.
Yeah, and that drives some of our fulfilment as well. And particularly when we look a little bit later on about how we confirm the deal, those fields will trigger what is and isn't included based on what's been sold. So this is a delegate rate, so it's the price for one person to attend the course, and the features of that, it does include an exam, it does include pre-course reading, it includes a manual. That's why those boxes are ticked. So they're the things that drive fulfilment and some of the other business processes we've got around products later on.
Yeah, and it's not on the page layout, but I guess if you wanted to, you could add a product spec to this product description and what have you.
Yeah.
Now, further down the page, Andrew, I know you've got a bunch of price books. So let's take a moment to just talk about this subject of price books. This product is associated with quite a few different price books, 8 or 9 different price books there. A price book in Salesforce really serves two purposes. It's a way of grouping a set of products, but it's also a way of controlling the price that product is sold for on a particular opportunity. So, for example, you might have your standard price book, which contains all of your products and is your natural way of doing business, but you might have a not-for-profit price book, and let's say that not-for-profit price book contains maybe not all of the products, maybe just a subset of the products perhaps, but it might also include a different price, perhaps a reduced price. So that would be the standard price for a not-for-profit organisation. And when you create an opportunity, you decide which price book you want to associate with that opportunity, and that then governs the products that you can select and the price that is applied before any discount, but the price that's applied to the opportunity. Now, Paul, I'm going to ask you, you've got quite a few different price books associated with this particular product. Can you just tell us how ILX uses price books?
Yes, so we have each different price books is for the different currencies in which we sell the product.
Yeah.
And then you can see with Dubai that we need 3 different currencies, dirhams, dollars and sterling. So our representatives in Dubai can actually price up in one of those 3 currencies.
Okay.
The other thing that we do with price books is you can limit who has access to those. So you can share them to specific users or different profiles. So that you limit who has them, particularly when it comes to, as you say, not-for-profit or public sector. You would only want the salespeople who are responsible for selling into those verticals to be able to have access to those discounted prices.
Yeah.
So you have some control over who sees which price books, and therefore, even though they might be able to see the products, it will be at a different price depending on what permissions they've got.
Yeah, and
I think that's an important point, Paul. The way you're using price books at the moment is kind of by region. So each region that you sell into, you've got a different price for because there's a different cost to fulfill that product in a different region. And as you rightly say, the Dubai multi-currency one kind of shows that price books don't have to be linked to
they're not currency
currency
specific.
Precisely.
Yeah, and we're developing a channel reseller price book in sterling, which is a subset of our UK price book, but just at a different rate because that market demands a different price.
Yeah, and I presume there's different costs of fulfilment in each of those different countries.
No, indeed. So the costs will be different in them, which wouldn't be a straight conversion of the UK costs into that currency, because the cost of trainers, the cost of venues, the cost of shipping the materials are going to be different in different countries, so that the cost associated with that product in different countries changes. So again, the GP will change,
and the price that market will support.
And you've also got competitor pressures there, which may drive where the price is.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Should we go back to the opportunity, Andrew?
Sure.
And why don't we go and look at how you add a product to an opportunity. So we looked at the product, we looked at an example of a product line item there that had been derived from that really links the product and the opportunity together. Just show us the quote and talk to us a little bit about how you add a product to a quote.
Sure. So the first thing I'll say at the beginning is just that we're going to be adding our products to quotes here. But if you're not using quotes and you're adding products to an opportunity, the process that you go through is exactly the same, and the selection wizard is exactly the same. So anything we're showing you here is replicable on opportunities.
In fact, so this is what we're going to show first of all, is the absolutely standard way of adding a product to a opportunity or to a quote.
Yeah, precisely. Okay, so I'm on the quote here, and we've got some custom fields and some of the standard fields, but where we want to look is just at the bottom here where we've got our quote line items. And as Gary said before, so we've already linked this quote and this opportunity to a price book, and this one is the United Kingdom price book. You can see it there. So only products that are available in that price book are going to be applicable for us to pick and add them to this quote.
Mm-hmm.
So we've already added a few here. I'm going to add a new one. To do that, I click on the Add Line Item button, and then this loads my price book. So the list price are all the prices that we've put into that price book, and I'm going to scroll down, and the product I'm going to add is called a corporate online learning product. And here it is. So I'm going to tick it on there and click select. Now this is a bit of a special product in ILX in the fact that we're not using a standard list price or a standard sales price. We're changing the sales price based on the volume that's been sold.
What is this product called?
So this is access to our portal where we host our computer-based training, and we have a consumer version of that. So one person buys a single license, and that's fine. That's quite straightforward. Mm-hmm. Then we have a corporate version of that, which is where you may have anything from a handful of people to several thousand people all accessing the training. And the more people that you have, the lower the unit price. We couldn't, as much as we'd like, charge the consumer price when you've got several thousand people accessing the same e-learning. So the price goes down as the volume goes up, and this product enables us to go to a table and work out what the right price should be at the particular quantity that we're selecting.
Okay.
So this is a bit of a custom solution that we've put in for ILX, in the sense that you can't do this through the regular Salesforce functionality. But you can see here that volume price calculation we've added to this custom object, which is called the e-learning price band. And you can see here for the different volumes that we've then got a different price depending on the size of the order that's placed.
Okay. So based on the quantity that you are about to enter onto the other screen, that will look up the price from this table.
Yes.
Yeah, and iterate between those units as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I choose 101 as my quantity, what happens then?
So 101 will it won't just give you the price for 100, which is the 146.06. It will give you an extra 50th of that price on top, because it's it's a sliding scale between the two units.
So iterate between those two price points to work out what the right price will be.
Yeah.
So slightly lower than 146.06, pretty close to that, but somewhere between that and 132.91.
Yeah, understand. Okay, great.
Okay. So let me add that onto the product there. So I'm just going to put in my quantity of 101. You can see I can leave the sales price blank. If I put in my own sales price, it'll be overwritten by the value calculated.
Okay.
I'm just going to leave it blank. And click save there. The code runs in the background. So if I scroll down to my products on this quote again, you can see I've got my corporate online learning license, and there's our list price and sales price of just below 146 as we expected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So some custom functionality for that specific product, because you want
it's
to,
quite
you
an
want to build
unusual one.
it's quite an unusual sort of pricing structure and so on. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
Andrew, what you showed us there is the standard way of adding a product to a quote or an opportunity. I noticed you did quite a bit of scrolling down to find that product. I also happen to know that you've built an alternative way of adding products to quotes and opportunities as well. Do you want to just explain that to us?
Sure. So one problem that we often see with clients is when you have a long product list of, above 50 products or so, that standard Salesforce selection can be quite cumbersome to use, and it can be quite difficult to find the product that you're looking for to add. So in order to get around that, what we've built is a custom selection wizard, which we call our product selection wizard. And I've just jumped into a different sandbox environment in order to show you this. So you can see here I've got my opportunity and I've got my products linked to my opportunity. And what I'm going to do here is just click on my use product wizard and just let that load up. And you can see here it's giving me a different screen than the one we had before. It's broken down each of my products into these folders, which makes it a lot more kind of user-friendly to find your product that you've got in there. They're all based on the product family field, which we looked at earlier. You can also add in some custom fields so that you can have groupings within groupings as such. So I'm just going to pop open generators and then diesel here. And you can see these are now my products that fall into that grouping.
Yeah.
So it was really easy to find the product that I'm looking for. On the right hand side here, I've got the products that have already been added to the opportunity they're displaying. And if I tick on a new product, you can see it's added it to my list there. And it's also given me the ability to then change the quantity up here. So if I'm going to put in 5 and the discount there. And as I kind of scroll through that, you can see it's automatically updating here at the bottom. So I've got my discount there and I've got my quantity of 5. And if I click finish on that, you see it will have added those products to my opportunity.
So it's adding products in exactly the same way. The outcome is the same, but it's just a different way of selecting the products.
Yeah, exactly. The structure behind it is still based on the standard Salesforce products and all the functionality that goes along with that. It's just a custom user interface on top to make it a lot more user-friendly to find the product you're looking for.
And I don't know if we can just click on the Add Product Wizard button again, because one of the things I've often found with more customers that sell more complex combination of products, shall we say, often when you have that just the long list of products, things can get left off. I've put it all together. Oh, I've forgotten. Turns out when we actually get to the point of sale or issue the quote, oh, I've left the plug off, or whatever it might be. So it's just an easier way for the eye to go down and for the salesperson to go through and make sure that they've got everything. I noticed that there was a product bundle button as well, just on the other page. I guess let's not go through that now, but it's the same sort of thing where you can create the concept of bundles of products, and in one fell swoop add that bundle and the associated pricing to that.
Add multiple products to the opportunity in one swoop.
Okay. Yeah. So, shall we hop back over to the ILX sandbox?
Sure.
Now, so we've modified our quote and we've got our quote line item. What would happen now? I mean, I guess in many cases you want to. There might be a discount involved, and there might be some sort of. You mentioned this earlier on, Paul.
Yes, indeed. So sometimes. We will need to discount as you go through the negotiation process. At the moment, our instance is set up so that all discounts need to be approved before you can close the opportunity. So there is a discount approval process. It's a two-stage one. First one is the discount. So if there is one, it needs to be approved. If there isn't, the second stage would be then getting finance approval. So we have, as a gatekeeper, the ability to prevent, because we've got integration with our account system, we don't want the opportunity to go straight into our account system to raise the invoice to trigger the fulfillment without someone first checking that all the information that we need is there. So we have this two-stage process, one for the discount and one before the opportunity is finally closed, where somebody in finance will just check that everything's there, including things like the PO number and the invoice address and the invoicing email, that all the information about the logistics of where materials go, where the delegate names are stored, is all there, so that at the point where it needs to be fulfilled, they have the ability to, everything's at their fingertips to be able to do that straight away.
Let me just check because I think you said two really important things there, because you're using the approval process to do two things. One is discount approval. So you're not giving away stuff that you shouldn't be giving away. But you said something else about quality assurance as well. And could you just say that again?
So at the point that the salesperson changes the opportunity to closing, they'll submit it for approval and it goes to somebody in finance, who will then check that everything that we need to know to be able to complete the order is there.
Right.
So that's not a discount approval, that's about the
quality
approval. And that's because we've got integration with our fulfillment systems and integration with our account systems. So at the point where it is closed, all the details go into our account system to raise the invoice and to record the transaction. But then also somebody in our fulfillment team will start putting together the solution, whether it's as simple as assigning somebody onto a piece of e-learning, or booking a venue and organising a trainer and making sure that we're couriering over the right exam packs and manuals and materials. So we want to make sure that we've got all that information at the point where the opportunity is closed. So we do that, and that opportunity won't get closed until we've checked it. And if it isn't there, then we can either edit it if it's something quite simple, or we can reject it, in which case it goes back to the salesperson to fill in the missing information before it's then resubmitted.
And I think the key thing that you might think, well, what's that got to do with products? Well, I think it's got everything to do with products, because you can't make that quality assurance check. We need these 5 things unless you know precisely what has been sold. And in your business, because you're managing the fulfillment partly through Salesforce and partly through integration with other systems, if you don't know precisely which products have been sold.
Yeah, well, so it goes back to that page where you saw the tick boxes about the features of the product. So, for example, if we sell a piece of e-learning, all we really need to know to be able to fulfil that is the email address of the person who's bought it. We don't really need anything else. We wouldn't trouble the salesperson for anything else because it would be unnecessary. But if it's a classroom course, and it's a custom classroom course for an organisation on their own premises, then we need to know where that's taking place, what dates, how many delegates, what trainer, where do we send the materials, how many exam packs. So there's much more information, and we don't want to be asking that for that information if it's a different product. So the products that are included on the opportunity drive the mandatory information for fulfillment. So it's dynamically generated, so we know that based on what we've sold, we're going to need a certain amount of minimum information to be able to fulfill it.
And Andrew, how much of that control did we actually achieve through, for example, approval process or mandatory fields or validation rules? Just tell us briefly how we achieved that.
Sure. So how I think what Paul's just described really manifests itself in Salesforce is through what Salesforce call approval processes. And that you can see here, we've got these 2 fields on the right hand side that give us tell us about whether discount approval is required or finance approval is required. They fill in here, and then you can also see here at the bottom the reason that discount approval is required is because we have a 5.13 discount on this opportunity. I think what we were kind of talking about there about the granularity of products and allowing you to then see what's on the opportunity. You can't really use these approval processes with confidence unless you're using products as well, because for example, if I scroll down onto my products, you can see I've actually got 4 products, 2 that have a discount and 2 that don't, and you can see that actually the largest part of the whole opportunity is that corporate online learning license that I put on there. So this gives the discount approver that information to be able to see that they've got 3 products on there, and actually the discount are on relatively small parts of the opportunity in comparison to a larger product there.
Hence the 5% as opposed to a bigger figure.
Precisely.
And that becomes important because the margin on those different products is different, so you want to know what you're giving the discount on to work out whether you want to approve it or not.
Precisely. And you lose all that information if you're just plugging in a number into the opportunity and a discount value.
Absolutely.
If we did this without products, we would just put in our grand total of 38,000 and then put in our discount of 5%. So I
think the other thing is you wouldn't actually know whether it was 38,000, 30,000, 48,000 or some other rounded number that has been put in. It's funny you should say about the actual precise amounts there, because a friend of mine is a B2B pricing consultant, and he always says, because the discount is crucial because you're effectively giving away chunks of margin there. He said, well, companies always give away, they always say the salesperson can have up to 10% as a discount. They said, or 5% or 10% or 15%. Well, why don't you authorise them for 7.5% or 7.8%? Because that's then probably the maximum they'll give, and actually you save yourself a chunk of your margin as well.
Sure.
Okay, so what are we going to do? Are we going to submit this for approval?
I can show you how simple that is. So we're just going for discount approval in this scenario because we haven't closed the opportunity. So I'm going to, as the salesperson, I'm going to click the submit for approval button there at the top, and then just click OK on my error. and just let that run through on the system.
I guess there could be a different hierarchy of approvals based on the level of discount that you're requesting.
Yep, sure. In ILX, I think you have a fairly it's just a one-step process, isn't it?
Yeah,
Paul?
any one person. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you can go. I think it's up to 10 steps if you want to in Salesforce.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, my friend says at a company he was working with, they did have up to 10 steps, and he said, well, actually, any discount over 7.5% has got to go straight to the chief executive if you want to be approved. So they cut out all the steps. He says, nobody ever requests a discount. No.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see now that's gone through, a couple of things have happened. The first one is I've locked my opportunity. I'm in as a system admin, so I've got that unlock record. You don't normally see that.
Yeah.
In my discount approval status, you can see it's set to pending. If I scroll to the bottom, I've got my approval history, which gives me, you can see I've got a whole host of people who can approve this opportunity for me, and you can see it's still pending. That information is actually replicated up in Chatter as well.
Yeah.
Which, let me open that again. So you can see it's pending for approval there. So you can use Chatter to manage that and to talk to the discount approvers and so on.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just gonna we're gonna jump a few steps ahead and ask for that to be approved.
Yeah. So Nick, who you can't see online, has just approved that for us, I think.
So let me refresh again. And you can see now I have my discount approval is approved. I've lost my lock, and if I go down to the bottom, I can also see it's approved. Approved there.
Yeah. And again, all of that enabled by products. As it goes back to what we said, using using products opens the door to a stack of other benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's one other major benefit that I want to focus on. Are we ready to do that now? Because the question is, you've done all this work, you've negotiated with the customer, and it's time to send them a proposal or a quote. So just tell us a little bit about how that works.
Yeah, so what we've done on our instance of Salesforce, what we've got is a generate order button, and what it will do is it will take the features of the opportunity, so the products, the pricing, the quantity, the discount, and it will merge that, so merge that in Adobe EchoSign using another program called Conga. And what it will do is it will take the relevant features based on the products you've sold, merge it into an agreement so that it's specific to the opportunity you've generated, and enable that to be sent as an electronic agreement for somebody to sign and send back. When it is sent back, the agreement's actually attached to the opportunity. So you've got an audit trail of the fact that somebody has agreed it and that they've signed it. What we do is we actually break it down even further than that. Based on the specific type of products that are included in the opportunity, we decide to either include or exclude specific terms and conditions. So there are more terms and conditions with a classroom course than there would be, or different ones maybe, than there would be with an e-learning course. So an e-learning course only has a validity of a certain amount of time. Classroom course, we've got terms and conditions around, for example, trainer expenses. So based on the products in the opportunity, we will include or exclude those specific terms that relate to the products. So it becomes a very easy way to make sure that you've got exactly what you need within the agreement, and an easy way to populate that template with everything, because all the features of the products you sold are already in there.
And presumably it means that, well, for a bunch of things, it's a bit like the approval process. You've got it all in one place, as opposed to email, phone, and goodness knows whatever else. But it means the actual documents are stored.
The document is stored with the opportunity. So when you go back and look at the opportunity, if there's ever an issue about what's been sold or what the client's agreed to, then it's actually attached to the opportunity. So the audit trail is perfect. So it's just a single place where you can go for everything you need.
And it stops people having to produce Word documents, PDF them, scan them,
and also
sign
version
them.
control, because every salesperson has their own version of the terms and conditions and the template that they prefer to use. And even though it is templated, every field on here is editable, so you can change who the recipient is, you can change the message, the agreement name, all of that can be edited before it gets sent to the client for electronic signature.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that speeds the process up as well.
Yeah, and we're using a third-party system integrated with Salesforce to do this.
Yep.
Yeah. We're using Conga and EchoSign. There are other available apps, but these are two we've used a lot, and they work very well together. You can see here, at the moment, I'm just sending out that quote that we prepared earlier to a contact in the system. They're just exactly how Paul said. So doing the same process the salesman would be doing.
Yeah, and presumably you had to create a number of different templates to accommodate that.
Yeah, precisely. So there's a bit of legwork at the beginning to get the templates all set up, but once they're up and running, it's.
Are we able to click on the template? Can we have a quick look at it?
Yep. Let me just.
Not so much the template, but the document that's gone out. Can we look at the document that's gone out?
Yeah, sure. So you can see that's been sent out. I'm just gonna.
So seeing the preview window, it looks quite sophisticated there.
Yeah. So I'm just hopping over into our email account here that it's been sent to.
Yeah.
And let me just refresh that.
Because I know many companies will have. I mean, some proposal templates can be quite complicated.
Yeah. So you can see this one. The first thing I'd mention is that it's actually come through as Paul rather than as any other user in the system. So it's come from the salesperson.
Yeah.
If I click on it, you can see again it says Paul sent it to me here, and this is just a little preview of my document.
Yeah.
I can click here and it will take me into Adobe, and when that loads, you'll get a nice render of the document.
And we've got some features in there. So, for example, we ask, do you need a PO number of the client? And if they do, then that becomes a mandatory field you have to fill in. And if they don't, then it doesn't. But it obviously takes everything from the opportunity and populates it in that template.
So you're actually asking the customer to fill in their own PO number directly on the order form?
If one's required, yeah. Asking them the question first, is it required? And then if it is, yes, you've got to do it.
And what we're looking at here are again, going back to products, what we're looking, the products that you specified in Salesforce are being pulled onto the template document now.
Yeah, and there's a couple of nice features that I particularly like with this ILX document. The first one is that we've broken down the products into two different categories there, so you can see it very obviously that this is that corporate e-learning product that I added, and this is the ILT courses, which I think are the training courses.
Yeah, instructor-led training,
Yep. Another nice thing is, you might have seen it when it first opened, is we have this little message that's come through from the salesman, just to say, if you're having any issues, get in contact. As such. From the customer point of view, he can review it from here. He can see his quotation number. He's also got these nice click buttons that he can click through to the important bits where he needs to sign.
Okay.
And you can see exactly as you said before, Paul, about the PO number is we're forcing some mandatory fields there on them because of the information that is in Salesforce. So I'm just going to put no on that, and I'm going to sign it here. And it's as simple as just typing in their name. You can use the draw as well if you want to draw it with
I've never been able to do that.
I've always found it looks less like my signature than theirs does.
I've had my eyes shut.
So I'll just do that and click apply, and then the final thing I'm going to do is click to sign there.
And this is as legally binding as any physical pen-based.
I mean, Adobe EchoSign made their business around that. So
absolutely,
it really is. Yeah, we've got that's as strong as any other documentation we would have.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can see here now that they've it's taken me to this screen where I can download a copy for myself if I want. It's also, if I hop back to my email account, you can see there it's sent me a copy of the quote. And it said it's from Paul there as well, and it's also sent a copy to Paul.
Okay.
So the salesman has it and the customer has it.
And
kind of the whole point of this, I guess, is so that if I jump back into Salesforce and click close, and then go back to my opportunity, that if I scroll down to the bottom to my agreements, you can see everything that we've done outside of Salesforce there in Adobe has all been updated in Salesforce, and you can see you've got your agreement there. You can see who it went to, that it's been signed, and then you've got a copy of the quote, which you can just click on, and it will download it for you.
There is clearly a benefit there in keeping it all in one place. You're always going to be able to find the document. It's easier for the customer. But I think there's one other important aspect of this, because you're forcing the salesperson to add more information at the point of sale.
Yes.
But on the other hand, you're giving him a benefit or her a benefit as well.
We're trying to make it as easy as possible.
How did you have any challenges in getting salespeople to, because they've got a lot of information to fill in, they've got to find the products and so on. Just how does that work out?
Indeed, I think adoption with any system is always an issue, particularly where you're asking people to do maybe more than they normally would, and you've got more clarity as a management team, which some people are less happy with than others. But I think that if you can add some benefits in as well, like making it easier to get the deal concluded, making it easier to fill in the template, then it's good. But the best way to achieve adoption is really through lots of training, lots of support, lots of help, which of all the the carrots that you give, and then systems and processes and controls in place which ensure that stuff doesn't get fulfilled unless it goes through this. And we had to do that as well. The operations team were briefed that if it didn't. If the order didn't come through this channel, then it doesn't get fulfilled. And there were there were a couple of salespeople who tried to circumvent that, but because the discipline was there, we ultimately encouraged them to get on board, because their deals weren't getting processed, the sale wasn't getting recognised, the commission wasn't getting paid, because we weren't recognising the sale. So that mantra of, if it's not in Salesforce, I don't recognise it, is the one that really ensures adoption. But that takes a lot of discipline from everybody else around the sales team to ensure that happens.
No, and on the other hand, any reasonable salesperson could see, well, if we're going to get it fulfilled, I am probably the only person who actually knows precisely what
and
it's been.
Also, it's better customer service.
Yes.
Yeah, they have ability to fulfil this accurately on time is much better. So ultimately, the customer benefits, which makes the salesperson's job easier.
Yeah.
So although it might feel like extra work, the customer service, the quality control is much better.
Yeah.
And that's the end benefit which the customer receives, which ultimately feeds through to the salesperson.
Yeah. So benefit for the customer.
Yep.
Benefit, I think, big benefit there we've just looked at for the salesperson in terms of streamlining his process, making it easier to get deals won. I guess a benefit for the sales director or the VP of sales, because we've got a more accurate pipeline.
Yep, indeed. So any sales management is much easier when you can see what's been sold.
Benefit for you, the operations director.
Yep, because we know exactly what's been sold and what we need to fulfil.
What you need to fulfil.
Yep.
Benefit for finance.
Yes, indeed. Because this particular case, we're integrating with our account system. So whereas they used to have to manually input the data from the sales booking form, which was a Word document, into their account system, now there's an API between the two which populates everything, so they don't need to manually input it.
Yeah. Fantastic. A comprehensive system. We said at the start, using Salesforce using the products functionality in Salesforce really just opens the door to so many other benefits. Now ILX have taken that and you've really kind of pushed it.
Yep.
In our own business, we use products. The only thing we have available for sale is our time, but we still use products for consultant, developer, data migration, and again that gives us visibility of what we've sold and our resourcing, everything else. So a much better visibility of the pipeline.
Yep.
Excellent. So, gents, thank you indeed for your help. Thank you for watching. Thanks everybody. Have a great day.